Hey guys, what's going on? It's Andy. Did you know there are right-of-way rules in the gym, just like out in the traffic? That's right. I'll tell you what they are in order in just a sec. But for you beginners out there, man, the gym can be a chaotic place when you walk in on your first day, right? Or even if you've been there for a while. There's like people running and jump roping and maybe kickboxing and lifting, and it's like, oh my gosh. So I'm here to help you so you don't get trampled in the gym, right? And so if you are also an intermediate guy or an advanced guy, you might not know all these, because I came from the world of athletics where, for instance, I was in a collegiate gym at the U, and we won a national football championship, NCAA. So I've gotten a lot of these rules of conduct from the larger athletic world, right? But the guys in the gym, in the public gyms, if you didn't play sports in the past, you might not be aware of some of the right-of-way stuff that everyone else is. Not everyone else, some people are aware of, right? So here we go, right away. And the first class of people that have the ultimate right-of-way are those that are currently lifting or exercising, okay? Right, because if you are, say, bench pressing, right? You shouldn't have to divert your attention for anything, right? You shouldn't have to move for anything, for any reason. It's a safety issue, really, right? So anyone that is exercising in the gym, you gotta yield to them, all right? Don't go through them, don't distract them or anything. Let them work, okay? That goes for people that are like running too, or something. So try to be aware of like where they're going, what the path is, and if people are like running towards you, kindly like step back, step out of the way, right? That might be a little more complicated with like, you know, runners who are just zigzagging through, like you don't know where they're going, right? So a little balance there. But the point is that you want to yield right of way to everyone who is working out. Now, this is where it gets tricky. This is where a lot of cumbersome incidents and crashes happen, right, in the gym traffic. So the next class of people that have right of way, okay, is anyone who is carrying a weight somewhere, okay? So I see this a lot by the mirror, where in our gym, there's a mirror and then there's the rack of dumbbells, and there's like, I don't know, they go all the way down the mirror. So there's always confusion about people standing by the mirror, heading somewhere, and people carrying their weights back to the slot, right? So the hot tip, the right of way goes to whoever's carrying the weights, okay? So if you're going through them and they're coming towards you and you don't have weights, move out of the way, right? It's the cool thing to do. The reason isn't bravado. It's not, you know, chutzpah, or what is that a word? I think that's the right word, right? So it's because if you're exhausted, you need to set the weights down quickly, right? Or the way, because it could be dangerous if you drop them, right? And it's just courteous, and they're heavy. So just yield to the person who is carrying the heavy weights, all right? It's pretty obvious. Now the next one, this one's not so clear, is those who are loading equipment, okay? So this has happened multiple times. I've been building up like a machine, a hammer machine that's you basically put the plates on, right? Or you could be building up like a regular bench press bar. I will grab another plate, turn, and realize someone is standing right there, and they're walking through me. And they're like, usually like, oh, yeah, talking to their friend, oh yeah, we're going over here. Guys, awareness. This is what's gonna be amazing. If I am headed across the gym floor, okay? If you've seen another video of mine, you will have awareness of your surroundings, right? And the last place I'm gonna walk is right between some guy who's loading the bar and he and his project, right? I'm not gonna go right between them, okay? So have awareness and don't go between what someone's doing, all right? So good. Now the fourth class of people who you ought to yield to are those who have just finished lifting and they're about to stand up, okay? Or they're on equipment and they're about to get off of it, okay? So I see this too, over by the mirrors. Like there's benches over there. And let's say this is the exact instance I see. People are on their back doing dumbbell bench press and they sit up, they're heavy, they set the dumbbells on their knee, and they spot the gap in the rack and they're about to stand up to go over there to put them back after they're exhausted. And guess what happens? Somebody just kind of walks right in front of them. And then oftentimes will stop and they're gonna choose which weights they're gonna use. I don't know which ones I'm gonna use. And they're just standing there with their butt in their face, okay? So the right of way goes to the person who's about to stand up, okay? Because they're exhausted. Where are they gonna put the weights? They can barely hold them for a few more seconds before they gotta set them on the ground. So kindly yield for people who are about to stand up, right? That goes too for the equipment where you sit on, like some of the leg machines. You basically sit on them to do your quad extensions. The ab machine, we have an ab machine where you sit on it and you pull the lever over your head. There are times when I finish, I'm breathing hard, and I am about to get up and off of it, and people are like just sauntering right by, right in front, like often within like inches, right? Just kind of walking slow, and I'm like leaning forward to get off, and they're standing there, and it's like, man, just like give some space. It's as if people aren't aware that like the only way to get on this thing is from this one angle, right? So now you know, right? This little awareness helps out a lot. So along these lines, the next class of people who have right of way are those that are present first at equipment, okay? Or they're resting between sets, all right? So I was at the incline bench, like first lift of the day, right? And it's a hammer machines. So I'm over there, I'm between sets. I like to get off of the equipment. And so I'm like leaning on it, breathing, and no one else is around except for this one guy. He's right in front of me. And he pops up and he has his duffel bag and he looks around and he looks at me and the gap between me and this other machine right behind me. And he's like kind of signaling like he wants to go through the gap, right? And I'm like really thinking, man, what do you want to do? You really want me to move? Okay, so I moved exhaustedly so he could get through this little gap, right? And I kept observing him, right? I was like, where did he need to go so badly that he needed me to move? He just went around and just kind of stopped behind me and was like deciding where to go next. So the proper thing to do is walk around the other machine. You don't have to walk through people that are resting between sets. It's hard enough to do our exercises, right? We don't need to like have people also yield for no reason, right? Because he didn't even go anywhere important. He just stopped right there. So make sure that you're aware of people who are taking breaks in between sets, and they shouldn't move for you, right? And then finally, the last set of people who have right of way or don't have any right of way is if you are just walking through the gym floor to your next piece of equipment. You ought to yield to everybody, okay? So, the path that you might need to go for you and your excitement to go to that machine is not a beeline, okay? You might walk right in front of someone who's about to get off a machine. You might walk 2 inches from someone's head, right? You might walk right in front of someone who's carrying weights this direction, right? Those are all things you need to weave for and yield to make the gym run smoother, okay? So, hey, now you know. I'll bet you didn't know that stuff, right? So, man, if you keep that in mind, you're gonna have a really high social and gym IQ, all right? And you're gonna be admired because people are gonna respect you and you're gonna respect them, of course. All right, guys, you're looking great. I love you guys, and I have a lot and a lot of knowledge to share, so stick with me. And welcome to the club.